Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Dit Commando. My name is Ryan, a former Royal Marines Commando. If you haven't liked, shared and subscribed to the channel yet, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you press that join button, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. It really does make my day. So we do a lot of reactionary content and military stuff, predominantly American military at the moment. And, you know, why is America such a strong military? Well, today we'll find out. The video we're reacting to is why America's military must be strong. So the hint is in the title, guys. I guess we'll find out. And yeah, let's open up a bit of a discussion with this in the comments. I want to hear your take on it, why you think America's military must be strong. I've got my reasons on why I think America must be strong. I think it's all to do with world police and all of that good stuff. But yeah, I guess we'll find out in the chat, guys. Let's go.
From when America's armed forces entered World War I in 1917 until today, the United States military has repeatedly made the difference between civilization and barbarism. It's no exaggeration to say that a militarily strong America is the one indispensable prerequisite for a peaceful and prosperous world.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that straight off the bat, guys. I think a lot of people will disagree with that, but here's my reasons why I agree. Now, when you want global power, you want someone who, at the very least on the face of it, is ethical in their standards. You know, they've got some moral compass in the things that they do. And I think as a whole, you know, holistically, America does point their moral compass in the right direction. It might veer off left and right now and again, but whose wouldn't? All right, we're human beings, we're not perfect, but they do strive to be perfect on that moral compass line. So if you're going to have a global world leader, you need someone who's morally sound. And trust me, guys, we'd know if it was a bad situation if a different country got in global superior power, because I just think it would be carnage, guys. I couldn't think personally of a better global superpower than America.
The witness of history, as well as our own common sense, bears testament to the fact that when America's armed forces are powerful, focused and feared, the globe is a better place than when she is weak, unprepared and vacillating. In the past century alone, there have been 4 great threats made to peace, democracy and freedom. Each of them have come from enemies that hate and fear what the United States stands for, as laid down in her Declaration of Independence, Constitution and Bill of Rights. 3 of these have come from differing mutations of fascism, and one from its totalitarian twin, communism. In each case, it has been the US military that has been a principal force protecting the free world from the tyranny these threats have sought to impose. The First World War sprung from Germany's bid for hegemony over Europe and was powered by a Prussian military machine that was proto-fascist in its outlooks, ambitions and assumptions. When the discovery of the infamous Zimmermann telegram revealed that Germany wanted to extend the war even into the American heartland, the Wilson administration sent hundreds of thousands of young American recruits, nicknamed doughboys, onto the battlefields of Europe and tipped the balance in the Allies' favour. 25 years later, the American armed forces were again fighting against the second mutation of fascist ideology as espoused by Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan.
So the thing that I take from all of this, and I put it really, really simple, guys, because, you know, it's just the way I think. But I look at this as, you know, we're looking at global elitist gangs. That's effectively what they are, all right? They have an allegiance to an ideology and they want everyone to follow that or else. Typical bullying tactics utilized by, you know, small gangs, big gangs, you name it, but it's just a bullying tactic, guys. The Bright Ideas Club, as I say, and it normally, all right, history has proven to us that these bully gangs tend to start from some form of political organization that's just went corrupt. They've went and lost their way. The power's got into their heads. I think it's one of those things, isn't it, where you give too much power away and they'll take advantage of that. I think that's the main thing here.
On battlefields as distant from America as tiny islands in the South Pacific, Picturesque villages in Italy and desolate towns in northern Africa, as well as on the sea in the Atlantic and in the skies over Germany, the American armed forces made another invaluable contribution to victory. Yet the fight for freedom wasn't over. Almost as soon as World War II ended, a new threat arose, the red fascist version of totalitarianism, Soviet communism. It soon cast its shadow over Eastern Europe as well as parts of Africa, Asia and Latin America. American military might, deployed intelligently and globally, played the key role in neutralising and then ultimately bankrupting that terrible menace to the free world. When victory in the Cold War in the late 1980s and early 1990s finally came under the presidencies of Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, it was because the US armed forces were kept strong enough to deal with the ceaseless probing and provocations of the Soviet Union over nearly half a century. Since 9/11, the world has been faced with yet another mutation of fascism, fundamentalist Islamist terrorism. Taking on many of the features of earlier fascist movements, hatred of democracy and Christianity, a fanatical anti-Americanism and anti-Semitism, and a desire for utter uniformity, the Islamist terror movement has caused death and destruction wherever it has appeared. The fascist bacillus has mutated yet again, but it is alive and well. And yet again...
So, although he's correct in saying the hatred of Western democracy, the bit that, although it is correct, it's the hatred of Christianity. I think the easier way of explaining this would just to keep out religion from that conversation completely, because it only really exists to those the hatred of it only exists to those who really believe in it. If you look at it from a non-religious viewpoint, you just look at these people from the sidelines like I do, and well, I just don't have any real allegiance to any of that, you know, of any faith as such, because it just causes so much heartache, and it hijacks political situations and utilizes religion as a power structure to be able to feed the masses with different information, you know, and that religious information gets pushed through the cracks, so to speak.
Again, the traditional antidote to the American military has taken up the task. By taking on the forces of terror in full-scale wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, the US made it clear that it would not permit fascism to triumph in our time, any more than earlier generations of Americans permitted it to in theirs. All this has come at great cost in lives and money. The cost of these precious lives, men and women fighting for others' freedom far from their own homes, can never be repaid. But the money...
Here's something. Here's a thought. It just came into my brain. The fight for freedom, or alleged freedom, and the lives that have been lost in this pursuit of this freedom that they keep talking about. What if we didn't fight against it? What would the repercussions be then? Would more lives be lost in that process? Something tells me that probably wouldn't. I don't think if we have actually fought against anything, there'd be, I don't know, I think there'd be less lives lost not pursuing the fight of this freedom that they say, because are we really free if we're destined to die in the pursuit of it? That's food for thought, guys. Maybe drop a comment below with your thoughts on that one.
A defence budget that is by far the largest in the world has been well spent.
That defence budget is ridiculous in comparison, guys. I mean, look at that. What are we talking here? United Kingdom, $60.8 million, right? Billions of dollars, sorry. Top 10 military budgets in billions, right? It's just UK 60.8 billion to the United States 682 billion. I mean, come on.
Has been well spent. It has protected the honour, power and prestige of the USA, upon which the cause of freedom ultimately relies.
Yeah, I agree.
When the United States armed forces are weak as they were before the Second World War, when America had only the 14th largest army in the world, the likes of Adolf Hitler...
Army in the world shows his lack of lack of understanding is coming from a little bit of military experience. People refer to the entire military as the army. Army is just one part of the military, so you should be using the terminology different there. I'm picking them up on that, but it's just a little pet hate of mine.
Are encouraged to make larger and larger demands. When US armed forces are strong, however, even a superpower like the Soviet Union has to acknowledge its own internal contradictions and inability to overawe the West. With China rearming massively and posing a growing threat to Western interests and values around the world, and the threat of Islamist fascism still upon us, it is well to learn the central lesson of the past half-century of human experience, which is that for her own sake, and that of those who love freedom everywhere, the United States must be militarily preeminent.
I agree with that. And here's an interesting thing. It doesn't really get spoken a lot. If America is the dominant superpower of the globe, literally keeping everything in check, and rightfully so in my opinion, I think they do a fantastic job at it, should we be funding America to do so, to police our countries, to keep stability in the regions? Or should we just let America fund it all themselves? An interesting thought that. What do you think, guys? Do you think these countries that utilize America's specialities, their expertise, their equipment, their knowledge, their military, their soldiers, their boots on the ground, anyone who utilizes that, do you think they should pay almost like a subscription fee to utilize and use that service? Because I think that service gets abused around the world. And what happens when you give too much? People start taking you for granted. I think that's a similar thing with America. I think people take them for granted, and they shouldn't really.
I'm Andrew Roberts for Prager University.
I like that dude. I like that dude a lot. He's got pretty much, he's got a nice sounding voice for a start. He's got a lot of knowledge in that head, and yeah, I think I'll react to some more of his stuff. I like that. If you liked it, guys, let me know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.